What's up, FitFam? I hope you guys are having a blessed day. So I'm back here answering another one of your questions. How do you get in enough protein each day? What kind of foods do you eat to get adequate protein? So both me and my husband get this question all the time because we're both very active. We work out at least 5 days a week. For me, I do a lot of heavy weightlifting. I also do high intensity interval training. I run. I teach a cardio class every weekend, and I also upload YouTube videos here, which combines both cardio and strength training. My husband runs well over 200 miles each month. He's pretty fast. He's run several marathons. He also does some strength training. So, needless to say, both of our diets need to be pretty on point in order to support that healthy lifestyle. So I do recommend that you find the foods that you do enjoy eating. I personally find foods that I like to eat, and I learn creative ways to prepare the food. I refuse to eat food that doesn't taste good just for the fact that it's healthy. You should not suffer through eating poorly prepared or poorly seasoned food. I'm going to say that again. You should not suffer through eating poorly prepared or poorly seasoned food, because then it's going to feel like you're force feeding. It's going to feel like a punishment, and you're never going to be able to get your diet on track if you're forcing yourself to eat things for the sake of it being healthy. You really do need to learn how to prepare the food so that you are more eager to eat the things that supports your healthy lifestyle. So I do have some notes here, so I'm going to be referring to them because I don't want to miss out on anything. I am working on a free ebook resource because I do get this question fairly regularly. So I figured let's put it into a document, let's give it to people so that way they have something to refer to. This ebook is not only going to have a list of foods that are good for you as far as protein, but it's also going to have a few sample recipes so that you can start incorporating these things into your lifestyle. It's also going to have some tips on how to sneak in a few extra grams of protein if you feel like you're deficient by the end of the day. So I have a pretty short list of high protein foods here, but just because it's short doesn't mean that they're not effective. These are foods that I buy regularly. They're always on my shopping list, and I always make sure I have them in the house because it does help support the kind of foods and the kind of diet that we both thrive off of. How much protein should you have? The recommended dietary allowance of protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. That for me would equal out to be maybe like 39.1 grams of protein. That's not nearly enough protein to support everything that I'm doing. As I said, I'm very active. I lift heavy. That's not going to help me to rebuild any muscle. That's not going to help me gain additional muscle. It's not really going to help all of the structures that protein is used for, because I'll run through that in one workout. It's just not going to be enough to support that. What I do recommend people to have is zero point 0.8 to 1 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Now, if you are a super athlete and you're working out even more than me, then you might want to have 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight to support the amount of activity that you do every day. So how do I get in all of this protein? I do start off with a pretty good breakfast. I think everybody needs to start off with a good breakfast. I try to get between 30 to 40 grams of protein with my breakfast. Breakfast is important because it gives you that head start on being able to reach that daily protein goal that you have. Some people don't think breakfast is that important, or sometimes they skip out on it. But what I find is if I try to fast or if I miss a meal, then it's harder for me to reach my protein goal by the end of the day, because now I'm rushing and forcing myself to eat all this food by the end of the day so that I can hit my protein goal. Whereas if you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe one or two snacks, you're more inclined to reach your protein goal instead of trying to cram it all in at the end of the day. So this is a short list of foods that I definitely include in my diet in order to reach my protein goals, and these are easy to find in your regular grocery store anyone can get them, anyone can prepare them, and there's all sorts of recipes on how to prepare these foods that make it easier for you to be able to reach your protein goal. So some of the main sources of protein that we get would be chicken, ground turkey, beef, salmon, tilapia, definitely eggs. I keep protein powder in the house because it gives you a good source of protein, but also non-fat plain Greek yogurt has a good source of protein in there. So let's get started. So how do I build out my day for my protein? Well, we start with breakfast. I never skip breakfast, and I always encourage other people not to skip breakfast. It gives you that energy that you need to start your day. Not only that, but it gives you a nice boost of protein to help you reach your goal of protein for the day. I aim for about 30 to 40 grams of protein for my breakfast. I find that if I miss out on breakfast or if I skip breakfast, it's a little more difficult for me to hit my protein goal because that's a huge portion of the amount of protein that I would be eating. That means that for lunch and for dinner, I may be trying to cram in so much protein so that I can hit my goal. I recommend you do at least 3 meals a day and maybe one or two protein rich snacks in between your meals to make sure that you hit your protein goal. So one of the things that I definitely like eating for breakfast, as far as protein, it could be Greek yogurt. 2/3 cup of Greek yogurt contains 18 grams of protein. If you did 1 cup of Greek yogurt, you can boost that protein up to 24 grams. Chicken sausage. I'm usually eating the medium to large chicken sausage links. They're each about 14 to 15 grams of protein. And if I'm having chicken sausage, I'm usually having two of them, maybe with a couple of eggs. Eggs are another item that I add in that has a good amount of protein. Each large egg has 6 grams of protein. I included protein powder on this list. Protein powder will give you, depending on which one you get, maybe 22 to 24 grams of protein per scoop of protein powder. So I definitely include that in my diet because it helps. You can use it to add in a variety of different things. Turkey bacon, you can get about 18 grams of protein per 3 slices of turkey bacon. So a sample breakfast for me might be overnight oats. I enjoy eating overnight oats. Your base recipe for overnight oats would be either half a cup or 1 cup of rolled oats. I also do 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt, do maybe about a cup of almond milk and a scoop of protein powder. So that's my base. Now you can add other things to your overnight oats. You could add some frozen blueberries, you can add some diced strawberries, which are both things that I typically do add to my overnight oats. You can also do some PB2 powder. That'll give you a little bit more protein, and it'll give you the peanut butter flavor without all the fat that regular peanut butter has in there. You can really just mix it up if you use that base recipe. The base recipe alone that I just mentioned has about 35 grams of protein in there. So that's one of my go-tos for breakfast. The other thing I like to eat for breakfast, it could be a frittata. So I might do a big pan of frittata. I'll start with 10 eggs. I'll put some sort of meat in there with some vegetables, and I'll also add some Greek yogurt to give it an extra boost of protein in there. So those are some of my go-to breakfast items that I have when I am, whether I'm working from home or whether I'm going into the office. Lunch, I'm usually planning my lunch the day before. Lunch consists of the same sort of thing. I'll have a large portion of protein, some sort of meat, be chicken, salmon, some other kind of fish, along with a salad or some vegetables. I do lean more towards salad. One, I like salad. I really generally do enjoy salad, but also I can have a large salad, have my protein, be completely full without feeling bloated. And I don't like feeling bloated while I'm at work. I just don't like feeling stuffed. So that's why I like to eat things that are kind of lighter, but still gives me the protein that I need in order to reach my goals, but also to keep me full throughout the day. Now, some other options for lunch could be you might have a tuna salad. So 1 can of solid white albacore tuna in water, drained, 4 ounces. That'll give you about 29 grams of protein. That's huge. So if you mix some tuna fish, a little bit of light mayo along with some plain non-fat Greek yogurt, that gives you about 32 grams of protein. Now you can have that on a salad, and if I were putting it on a salad, I would also have a hard-boiled egg in there, so that would add another 6 grams of protein, taking my protein intake for lunch to about 38 grams. Now, alternatively, you can have a carb controlled wrap, or you can have a high protein wrap, which would give you an extra 10 grams of protein to that 32. So that takes you to 42 grams of protein. I eliminated the egg because, again, the egg is what I was adding if I were putting it into a salad. But if you just wanted to do the tuna salad, no egg, and you did a high protein wrap, you could easily get 40 grams of protein for lunch. Now, for your snacks in between your meals, you can have something high protein like a Greek yogurt. Oikos Greek yogurts will give you about 15 grams of protein. I also like the pouches of dried edamame beans that usually gives you about, I think, like 10 grams of protein, or you can do some beef jerky, whatever you prefer. What I usually do for my husband, one of his snacks is actually some hard boiled eggs. I usually send him to work with 3 hard boiled eggs. That'll give you 18 grams of protein, and that's just a snack. So this is on top of the other things that he's having. So those 2 meals that I listed out for me, he's having essentially the same thing. The portion size is usually a bit bigger because he needs more calories and more protein than I do, but our meals are typically the same, because we both need a high protein diet. So for dinner, my dinner plan is usually from the same kind of structure. I'm not eating the same thing every day, but I'm eating the same sort of food. So again, I have a high protein meat, whether that's chicken, whether that's beef, whether that's some sort of fish, and I'm usually pairing it with a leafy green vegetable. And it could be a starchy vegetable on the side, such as potatoes, or I might have a salad or something like that. But I aim for, again, about 30 to 40 grams of protein with my dinner. Now, a sample dinner item for me might be something like some blackened salmon, roasted sweet potatoes, some asparagus, or I might have the salmon, asparagus, and some quinoa. Quinoa is another one that, another source that has a good amount of protein. You get about 6 grams of protein per quarter cup of quinoa. So whenever I'm preparing my meals, I try to look for those sources that does have a good amount of protein in it. So some of the ways that I prepare to make sure I have enough like protein throughout the week and for all of my meals, it starts with my meal prep. Now, I'm not going to specifically go into all of the details on how I do my meal prep, but there are some things that make getting enough protein in your diet easy if you do it the correct way through your meal prep. So when I am planning my meals out, I know that at least one of my protein sources will be going into the slow cooker, and one might go into the oven, or I have an indoor grill that I might use. So one of the things that I like putting in the slow cooker are boneless chicken breasts. So I might take 4 to 6 large boneless or bone-in chicken breasts. I've used that before, and you cook them in the slow cooker for a few hours. Once it's done, you can actually shred the meat up. Now I've used that meat for, let's say, protein bowls, which includes the chicken, some quinoa, some salsa, some avocado, and you can also add some plain non-fat Greek yogurt to give it an extra boost, and it is a great substitute for sour cream. The other way you can use that shredded chicken, sometimes I've thrown the shredded chicken into a frittata, or I've used it in an omelet, because again, it takes those eggs up to another level. It gives you more protein. It tastes good, when it's always there, and you make enough so that way you can do the mix and match with these different things. If I wanted to use that shredded chicken for my lunch, for my salad, I can also do that. A lot of times, if I'm making a big slow cooker pot of boneless chicken breast, I'm also using it to prepare my husband's lunch. So I make a chicken salad, and again, I'm using some light mayo. I'm using the shredded chicken. Might dice up some peppers in there, mix that up, and then he's having it on a high protein wrap. So now he has between 40 to 50 grams of protein for his lunch, because like you find these ways to incorporate more protein, and it works. It's filling. It gives him the things that he needs in order to hit his protein goals. The other things that you might want to look at to be able to add more protein into your diet are your snacks. I mentioned edamame, dried edamame beans earlier. So you can have the small pouches of the dried edamame. Again, that's going to give you between 9 to 11 grams of protein. I also like the edamame pods, and they come in small pouches. You can get them from the frozen food section from like your big box store like Costco or BJ's. Microwave them for a couple of minutes, and you have a snack that's going to give you about 10 grams of protein. The other snacks that are high in protein would be beef jerky, that usually gives you about 10 to 15 grams of protein, depending on how much jerky you eat. I like having parfaits. So I mentioned earlier that I keep protein powder around. So if you did just a regular parfait, you can take 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt and get 24 grams of protein in it. However, if you add 1/2 or 1 scoop of protein, you can flavor the Greek yogurt any way you want. Whatever protein powder you have, it could be vanilla ice cream protein powder, or chocolate protein powder, strawberry protein powder, whatever protein powder you choose. Put a 1/2 scoop or a full scoop into 1 cup of Greek yogurt, and you've taken that snack from 24 grams of protein. Now you've taken it up to 36 or even 48 grams of protein. And this is a snack. So again, like, there's ways that you can eat the foods that you enjoy, make sure that you're getting in enough protein. And typically, if I make a parfait like that, I'll throw on some homemade granola on top of it, maybe some blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, something to give it a little bit more sweetness to it. So I mentioned earlier, you can add non-fat plain Greek yogurt as a substitute for sour cream. So if you made some quesadillas, again, you take your shredded chicken that you made on Sunday. You have your big pot of shredded chicken. You throw that in between your low carb or carb balance wrap that's already about 8 grams of protein, or you get a high protein wrap, and you make yourself some quesadillas. And on the side, you can have that non-fat plain Greek yogurt as a sour cream substitute, and that gives you enough protein that you need. So there are so many ways that you can incorporate protein into your diet and make sure that you're getting enough of it. Again, find the things that you like to eat. Do not suffer through food just because it's healthy. For the sake of getting in it, it's going to feel like a punishment, and you're not going to be able to stick to it. Get some good recipes that incorporates these high protein foods, and you will be successful and be able to get all of the protein in that you need. So let me just recall a little bit. So if I go back and I talk about my overnight oats, that's going to give me 40 grams of protein. My lunch is going to take me to about 35 grams of protein. All right, so that gives me 75 grams of protein. Now my dinner is usually about 35 to 40 grams of protein. Okay, so now that's 110 to 120 grams of protein. And then I'm adding in a snack. So I'm adding in a Greek yogurt that gives me 15 grams of protein, or I'm adding in that parfait that's going to give me 24 to 36 grams of protein, and there you have it. I'm right there at my goal, and I still haven't eaten all the food that I could possibly eat. If I wanted to munch on something like edamame beans, or if I wanted to munch on some mixed nuts, that'll give me the additional protein too. So I really hope this was helpful for you guys. Again, the ebook that's going to talk about high protein foods along with some sample recipes in it will be coming soon, and I will put that in the show comments once that is live. Let me know in the comment section what else you guys want to see here. Do you want to see an eat in a day video to see, you know, everything that I'm eating throughout the day? Do you want to see something else? Let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. Again, if you guys aren't subscribed to this page, please hit the subscribe button, as that helps me grow and lets me know what kind of content you guys want to see. Give this video a thumbs up and send it to someone who you feel this may be helpful for. So until the next time, I hope you guys continue to stay blessed and stay fit. Peace.